We welcome you this afternoon to this 14th induction ceremony for the 35th Division Hall of Fame. We want to especially welcome the families of our honored inductees this year. Some of them came from Minnesota and from Florida and so forth. We really appreciate your being here. Wisconsin. Michigan.
I was born in Wisconsin.
All right. That counts. All right. I want to thank the 35th Division Band for being here and all of the members of the 35th Division Association and their guests. Please rise for the posting of the colors, remain standing for the national anthem of the 35th Division Band, and then the invocation by Chaplain Travis Ford. Post the colors.
And plug you up. Or do you need to be
Here you are. Look.
be somewhere at 3:30, so I'll probably leave. I'll probably go to the grocery, have to get the kids dinner, and then I'll just get this tomorrow.
Okay, how do I turn it off?
Just close it.
Can I get this a little clearer?
No, that's her own camera. That's her problem. That's not yours. All you can control is this camera.
Just join me as I pray. Almighty God, I thank you today for this ceremony that brings us together. A day where we remember and honor great history and the great accomplishments of the 35th, but especially the individuals who have served in it. We're grateful for how these individuals we honor today, Staff Sergeant Korejsza, Colonel Sachs, General Simpson, have served our country and the vital role they have played in trying times, protecting our interests, freedoms. And of course, we're grateful for the sacrifices they have made to do so.
All these people.
We're also thankful for their family members that represent them here today. Bless them and bless us all as we remember and honor them today. I pray in your name. Amen.
There's other people.
Roberta Risa, I know her.
Thank you. You may be seated.
So
To acknowledge the president in the room of the president of the 35th Division Association there, Lieutenant Colonel Ron Boyer, the president-elect, Colonel Cal Wareham, right here, the second vice president, Colonel Paul Waters, and Colonel Waters will be running the projection today.
This bottom left.
Also want to acknowledge the presence of
There she
General
goes.
Mohat, the commander of the Kansas Army National Guard, General Mohat, and General Rieger, the past, or the member of the 35th Division staff, the assistant division commander, and also General Duckworth retired there, and
Let her be in it.
Okay.
General Wyndham too, sorry. General Wyndham, past president of the 35th Division Association and the commander of the 35th Division. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize and realize you'd come in. We're glad to have all of you here and thank you very much. At this time then, we will begin the induction ceremony. We don't have anybody in here there's currently a member of the 35th Division Hall of Fame. Nobody was able to make it this year. So we're ready for the presentation of the inductees. The first one is Staff Sergeant Leopold Korejsza. Korejsza. And Colonel Boyer will be reading the bio.
Well, I'm gonna go to the door. Look at my hair.
What time's your meeting?
That told her I'd be there by 3:30.
I can't hear this.
Staff Sergeant Hunter F. Korejsza, inducted. Staff Sergeant Leopold F. Korejsza, inducted 2022. Staff Sergeant Leopold F. Korejsza, a member of Company A, 134th Infantry Regiment, was killed in action in France on November 13, 1944, at the age of 21. He had landed in Europe on Omaha Beach on July 6, 1944, and was wounded in the initial battle of St. Leopold, for which he received a Bronze Star and his first Purple Heart. He returned to duty. He fought across France with his unit until he was killed in action by machine gun fire in the battle near Aachen, France. He was posthumously awarded his second Purple Heart. Staff Sergeant Korejsza was born in Lackawanna, New York, a suburb of Buffalo, New York, on November 15th by his parents, Adam and Mary Korejsza, moved to Detroit, Michigan, in order to work at one of the auto companies. He grew up in a loving family of 4 children. Leopold, Leo, Corey, had a brother Dave and younger sisters Nancy and Florence. Flossie. He was especially close to his sister Nan, now Nancy Skaraki, at 95 years old. Others in his close-knit family include his grandmother Anna, his favorite Uncle Bill, his favorite cousin Antoinette, also called Tony. Leo was a dapper-looking young man and especially proud of his car, which made him very popular. The family was a strong supporter of President Franklin Roosevelt, whose picture hung in their home. Following graduation from high school and prior to joining the U.S. Army, Leo worked at a civilian concentration camp in Michigan. Following basic combat training, he was assigned to Company A, 134th Infantry Regiment, 35th Infantry Division, where he became known as Corey. Serving with his unit during its training in the United States at Camp Rucker, Alabama, and Camp Butner, North Carolina, before being sent to Camp Kilmer, North Carolina, for deployment to Europe. Meanwhile, his mother became an active volunteer for the American Legion. Following a stay in England, he landed on Omaha Beach on July 6, 1944. A week later, he and his unit entered combat at St. Lo, France, where he suffered a minor wound to his hand, which became infected. While hospitalized, he was awarded the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart from a staff sergeant. He soon returned to duty as a squad leader in Company A, 134th Infantry Regiment. He fought with his unit across France as part of Patton's Third Army, and by November, he had been involved in the battles of Harberdrang, Morhang, Villars, and Aachen. For his efforts, he was awarded the Combat Infantryman's Badge. A heavy firefight ensued at Aachen, with Company A taking heavy rifle, machine gun, mortar, and artillery fire, which killed 15 in action on November 13, 1944. One of those was Staff Sergeant Leopold Leo F. Korejsza, who was shot in the head in one of those German machine gun fire while attacking an enemy machine gun nest. He died instantly, although he was initially reported as missing in action. However, this was soon corrected to kill with action. One of the soldiers in his squad, PFC Peter Milesevich, said that he was, quote, a soldier all the way through to the end, well liked by all of his followers, unquote. Another one of Corey's buddies, Corporal Albertini, wrote in a letter to Staff Sergeant Korejsza's mother that he died bravely and that he had been a friend to all of his buddies. Even a Chaplain A.C. Walker, wrote to his mother that, quote, you have every right to be proud of your son, for he was performing his duty manfully. He was given a Christian burial by a Catholic chaplain. We pray that God may be very near to you in these days of grief. Your son laid down his life for his friends. No man can do more. Staff Sergeant Leopold F. Korejsza was buried at St. Avold Military Cemetery in France, Lot B, Road 26, Grave 34. His sister, Nancy Skaraka of Allen Park, Michigan, was active in the 134th Infantry Regiment, the 35th Division Association, and for many years, and was very proud of her brother, as are her nieces Tracy Kemp and Cynthia Arnold, who assisted in the submission of his nomination to the 35th Division.
Okay, we would ask Cynthia and Tracy to come forward for the presentation and your remarks. I just want to make one correction that I didn't get that correct in there. That their mother, his sister, Nancy Skiraki, just died here a couple months ago. It was not, so didn't get the bio update. Okay.
Are you going back?
I don't know. You have to finish.
Could you take my shaver and the shaving blade with it? Maybe not. I didn't have the shaver with it.
It's our pleasure to be here today. I'm Cynthia. I came from.
Take it with me. He'll
Where
get
is it?
the bathroom.
You want me to take the whole thing?
You had the upper
Midwest, okay.
That's geography. I can start on France now because my mother insisted when I took her and my father on vacation in Europe with my husband, who was a captain in the German army. We go to Amsterdam and we go to Frankfurt and we go to see the castles, but we had to go to Leopold. So, one of the photos that you saw here with my mother at the grave of her brother was very meaningful to her. We did that about 15 years ago. And as Brigadier General Gerhard said, our mother passed away on May 1st. That's one of our hopes that we would, in her frail condition, still bring her here. But Leo, her older brother, was her lifelong love. Without her and the deep friendship that she developed with Roberto Russo in her care for the 35th Division, especially in the later years of her life.
All this is?
Take notice to understanding how important Leo was.
Yeah, take the whole thing. Maybe he won't.
What do you say?
That's the cleaner fluid. Don't spill it though. Yeah.
Leo died young.
Yeah. That's new. I got it.
I was not born by him. I have never met Leo, and Tracy, my younger sister, has never met Leo either. But I had the pleasure of being dumped on by my mother with all the family genealogy records. So as I went through this process of mess of the suitcase, I was able to pull aside all the records of my uncle, and my mother kept a lot. So I had an opportunity to see a side of Leo that maybe I'll say just a few words and then let my sister close. But I saw all these personal letters that he had written while on the front, back to all members of his family, and not just his parents and his sister Nan, as he called her, his girlfriend Cornelia, who he had met while he was stationed in Alabama, to our aunt and uncle who lived in Lackawanna, New York, and who we were close to. He was a charming man, a young man. He talked about what you pick up in these letters. What would you like me to bring for you? I've got this much money now. How much can I set aside to bring you a present? Who can I plan for sending something to take back? Life special for them. What should I bring for Christmas, Nan? I know you wanted this and I've got a surprise for you. I'll be home soon. Please send pencils. I'm running out of writing instruments here in the trenches and I can't write late at night. I can only write a short note because there are no lights. I can hear the shelling in the background. This thing is calling me to hear this because it brings to life what you went through. And you don't pick up fear. Maybe it was naivety. You don't pick up fear. That you get a sense of bravery and decency of this young man who's caring for people still at home while dealing with the situation on the ground in a very steadfast way. I've learned to love him through those letters. I've learned to love him through the eyes of my mother and her commitment. And for that reason, I really thank you for recognizing him. He's not a general or a colonel. He died too young for that. In fact, he died at 20 years old, the day before his 22nd. So the last note he ever wrote was to my mother. And captured that in our family genealogy. Nan, what would you like for your birthday? It was drafted the day that he died. Nan, what would you like for your birthday? So it was a long time ago, and we can see it's very emotional for us, so we wanted to make sure that the family was represented here today and really give our appreciation and remind us all how human this all is. It's not just the great military accomplishments, and his bravery was recognized. I'm so proud of that. But it's the human element of a decent person who was brought up with a photo of FDR in the background of many family photos, joining the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and going right off to war and giving up his life at such a very young age. And how that affected his family, so that when my mother passed away at 93, still on her phone, she became blind. Number 10 of the immediate dial was Roberta Russo to keep in touch. I'm sure her brother was remember. So that's a little bit on the family side of what this means to us. I hope you appreciate it. And for all of you young people who are in the military, I want to thank you. It's more than just your accomplishments. It's about your decency and how you take care of your family and others around you. He gave up his life, and we're very proud of him. So I'd like my sister to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Just real quick. The 35th Division became a way of my mother looking to learn about her brother. She wanted to know about him and what he went through. As you can all see, we found a lot of that out. When my sister says suitcase, she means suitcase. There's still stuff coming, Roberta. She organized these men and women to come together once a year for a luncheon, and she found every way she could to scrape up the funds. So these gentlemen that she became friends with and called frequently to get together and reminisce and have a good time and see their fellow soldiers. And it meant the world to her. She went through some dark times during this period, and she told me this is what sustained her was the 35th Division and learning about her brother and learning about these men and women. And I'm very proud of all of them and proud of what my mother did. I wish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Our sympathy on the loss of your mother and on the loss of your uncle many years ago. I know that your mother, Nancy Skiraki, was a legend in the 35th Division Association for many years and is well known, and you're carrying on her tradition very well. So
We're trying to make sure that my dad doesn't put all his stuff into the garbage can before we can get it to him.
sure you have a job. But thank you for being here and thank you for those nice words. Our next inductee is Colonel William H. Sachs Jr. and his bio will be read by Colonel Steve Pierce, former Chief of Staff, 35th Infantry
Division. Good afternoon. Colonel William H. Sachs Jr., inducted 2022. Colonel William H. Sachs Jr. served with distinction in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. He served in Company G, 137th Infantry throughout the entire World War II European campaign. Among his awards were the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 2 Silver Stars, the Legion of Merit, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Bronze Star with B device, and 2 Oak Leaf clusters. The Air Medal with 4 Oak Leaf clusters and 2 Purple Hearts. Colonel William H. Sachs Jr. was born in Leavenworth, Kansas on September 9th, 1923, and lived in St. Augustine, Florida at the time of his death on September 14th, 2009. Following graduation from high school, he enlisted in the Army in 1939, and following basic training was assigned to the 35th Infantry Division. He landed with the 137th Infantry on Omaha Beach in July of 1944 and saw heavy action at the initial Battle of St. Lo. He remained with the 137th as it saw action across France at Morhaine, Villers, Nancy, and other battles, then fighting its way through Belgium and Holland to enter Germany following the Battle of the Bulge. Remaining in the Army following the war, he was appointed a second lieutenant in the Regular Army on January 1st, 1948, and subsequent promotions to first lieutenant on January 1st, 1951, and then to captain on October 29th, 1954. During that time, he was deployed to Korea during the Korean conflict. He remained in the Army following the Korean War and graduated from the U.S. Army Command General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth. He was assigned to the U.S. Army Recruiting Command at Fort Sheridan, Illinois from 1964 to 1966. He also held assignments as Director of Personnel and Administration at the U.S. Army Recruiting Command. In 1966-67, he was deployed to Vietnam during the Vietnam War as commander of the 1st Battalion Airborne, 503rd Infantry, 173rd Airborne Brigade at Bien Hoa, Republic of Vietnam. He received the Silver Star for gallantry in action in the Republic of Vietnam on April 3rd, 1967, and the Legion of Merit for exceptionally meritorious service in Vietnam from February to October 1967. He received the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism while participating in aerial flight in the Republic of Vietnam on April 12, 1967. On December 19, 1967, he was awarded the Air Medal with 4 Oak Leaf clusters for meritorious achievement while participating in aerial flight. Following his tour in Vietnam in 1968, he served at the Pentagon in the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel. In that position, he received a commendation from the High Commissioner of Ryukyu Islands for the smooth and orderly transition of the Ryukyu Islands from the United States to Japan. The citation reads that he was instrumental in coordinating a myriad of changes that would impact on the United States military and the civilian population of the Ryukyu Islanders under the Status of Forces Agreement. He continually advised the High Commissioner of the sociological and morale problems that could be anticipated, and he recommended certain alternative steps that could be taken to preclude these problems or reduce their impact on the local United States population. Through his expert guidance and extensive knowledge, Colonel Sachs contributed immeasurably to the formation of policy and the coordination required for a smooth and orderly transition of our government to another. His leadership marked professional competence, enthusiasm, and complete devotion to duty contributed immeasurably to the mission of the High Commissioner. 1973 to 1977, he commanded the Northeastern Regional Recruiting Command of the United States Army at Fort Meade, Maryland. This included command of all recruiters in all states in the northeastern part of the country. Besides the awards previously mentioned during his long military career, he received 2 Purple Hearts, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal with 3 Oak Leaf clusters, the Army Commendation Medal with Oak Leaf clusters, the Good Conduct Medal, World War II American Defense Medal, World War II American Campaign Medal, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with Star and Oak Leaf cluster, the World War II Victory Medal, the World War II Army of Occupation Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Korean Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, and the United Nations Korean Service Medal. He also received the Combat Infantryman's Badge and the Combat Parachute Badge. Following retirement from active military service, he served as the city manager for Atchison, Kansas, and for Kabul, Mississippi. He and his wife and much of his family then lived in St. Augustine, Florida, where he spent his retirement years. He served as president of the 35th Infantry Division Association in 1989 and 1990, and left a large collection of his personal military items to the 35th Division Museum, as well as a mannequin with full dress blue uniform and medals. These are still on exhibit in the 35th Division Museum. He was married to his wife Helen in 1945, and they were married for 64 years until he passed away in 2009. Together they had 5 children: Barbara, John, William, Paul, and Helen. A member of St. Anastasia Catholic Church, St. Augustine, Florida, Colonel Sachs passed away on September 14, 2009 in St. Augustine, Florida, where he was buried. His wife Helen passed away in 2016 and is buried beside him.
Thank you, Colonel Pierce. We're honored to have members of the Sachs family here. So if you all would like to come up, including the little ones, it would be great. And come on up.
He wants to fly.
Actually,
We're all waiting.
actually, this is Colonel Sachs's namesake right here. This is his grandson. Yes, so his grandson, who is his namesake, should do that.
Y'all stay up here and y'all get a chance to talk.
Well, of everyone here, I knew Uncle Bill the longest because like, these are his grandkids and his daughter-in-law. So I knew him since birth and always respected his military service. He spent his life with dedication to his soldiers, to his men. And he was well known for standing up for his men. If they got into trouble anywhere, if the phone rang at his house at 2 o'clock in the morning, he was up and out and figuring out what it is his men needed and providing that for them. And so we were always, he lived his whole life with shrapnel left over from World War II that gave him pain for his entire life. And one of his greatest honors was being awarded the Gold Star by the government of France in recent years. So that was something he was very, very proud of. And our family was very proud of him. That's all I got to say.
I'll just say it's an honor to be here and to have my grandfather honored by you all. He obviously spent a long military career and served in a lot of different units, but I think the 35th Division was where his heart was. So always came back to. So again, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Did you hear that? Wow.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you all here and thank you for coming, some of you from a great distance. Colonel Sachs is one of those rare individuals that we inducted. You notice that he served in World War II, the Korean War, and in the Vietnam War, and was a hero and won many medals in all three of those wars. Many of the artifacts that are here in this museum were originally, I believe, in the Atchison County Museum in Atchison. And before Colonel Sachs passed away, he had them transferred here, including the mannequins stand in the 35th Division Museum. He had them transferred here, and there's a number of other items that we have on file here. So he certainly is an important part of this museum, and I might say that he was nominated by Major General Jack Struple, who passed away in this past year. And General Struple would be very proud that he was selected. Our next inductee is Lieutenant General William H. Simpson, and this bio will be read by Colonel Jeff Lanning, the Executive Secretary of the 35th Division Association.
General William H. Simpson served as commander of the 35th Infantry Division from October of 1941 to April of 1942. During that time, the 35th Division participated in the Louisiana maneuvers, departed Camp Robinson, Arkansas, and took its first assignment in defense of Southern California sector of the Western Defense Command. On 1 March 1942, the 35th Division was triangularized, most notably losing its infantry brigade headquarters and the 138th and 140th Infantry Regiments. And these was replaced by the 320th Infantry Regiment. The 35th Division's engineer, field artillery, quartermaster, and medical regiments were reorganized as battalions. General Simpson later commanded the United States 9th Army, leading it through some of the toughest fighting in World War II. While often overlooked in the history of the European theater of operations, William H. Simpson, commander of the U.S. 9th Army, proved to be one of the most effective American generals of World War II. Calm, modest, and utterly dependable, Simpson led the 9th Army through some of the war's bloodiest fighting. In a testament to Simpson's abilities, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, in his book Crusade in Europe, stated, "If Simpson ever made a mistake as an Army commander, it never came to my attention." William Hood Simpson was born on 19 May 1888 near Weatherford, Texas. In 1905, he entered an appointment to the United States Military Academy. Upon graduating in 1909,
He was commissioned a second lieutenant of infantry and was assigned to the 6th Infantry. From 1910 to 1912, Simpson served with his regiment in the Philippines, fighting against rebellious Moros. He later took part in the punitive expedition of 1916, also known as the Mexican Border War. 1 month after the U.S. declared war against Germany in April of 1917, Simpson was promoted to captain and became the aide-de-camp to Major General George Bell Jr. In July 1917, Bell assumed command of the 33rd Infantry Division and Illinois National Guard. Simpson was later named as the 33rd's operations officer, which provided him invaluable experience in upper-level staff procedures. He also saw action in the San Miguel and Meuse Argonne campaigns and earned a Silver Star and a Distinguished Service Medal. He later served as the division's chief of staff from November 1918 until he returned to the United States in June 1919 to become chief of staff of the 6th Division. Simpson reverted to his permanent rank of captain on 20 June 1920, but was promoted to major the following day. Like many of his contemporaries, Simpson served in a number of staff, instructor, command, and student assignments during the interwar period, including tours at the Infantry School, Command and General Staff College, and the Army War College, where he served as an instructor from 1936 to 1940. After commanding the 9th Infantry at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, Simpson was promoted to Brigadier General and named Assistant Division Commander of the 2nd Division. He was promoted to Major General in September 1941 and was commander of the 35th Division when the U.S. entered World War II. Later assignments included command of the 30th Infantry Division and the 12th Corps. In October 1943, Simpson was promoted to Lieutenant General and given command of the 4th Army. Plans called for the 4th to be used as a follow-on force after the Normandy landing. In May 1944, Simpson and his staff arrived in England to make final preparations to take his army, now designated the 8th Army, into combat. To avoid confusion with the British 8th Army, Simpson's command was quickly redesignated the 9th Army. On 5 September 1944, the 9th went into action in France as part of Lieutenant General Omar Bradley's 12th Army Group. Simpson's 9th had the unglamorous task of reducing the fortress town of Brest and eliminating pockets of German resistance bypassed by other Allied armies. When the Germans surrendered Brest on 20 September, Simpson demonstrated his loyalty to his subordinates and his dislike of the limelight by having Major General Troy Middleton of 8th Corps accept the surrender. After the Brittany campaign, Simpson was ordered east with his army and assigned to the northern flank of the 12th Army Group. In the late fall of 1944, Simpson's army pressed on into Germany to capture the Roar River dams. Hampered by bad weather, the effort fell short of its objectives. While unable to achieve a breakthrough, the 9th avoided the horrible mauling suffered by the 1st Army in the Turkey Forest. And Bradley felt that Simpson's 9th was the army he could count on. Simpson's greatest contribution to the Allied war effort came with his steady performance during the crisis in the Ardennes. He was one of the few Allied generals to quickly understand that the German offensive was more than a spoiling attack. With the assistance of his well-trained staff, Simpson began ordering his units to reorient their fronts. He quickly dispatched his 7th Armored Division to St. Vith in the 1st Army sector. The 7th Armored played an important role at St. Vith and greatly helped delay the German advance. By the end of December, 4 infantry divisions, 3 armored divisions, and 28 non-divisional units from the 9th were in the 1st Army sector, fighting to push the Germans back. A feat on a par with more celebrated efforts by Patton's 3rd Army. As usual, Simpson's low-key leadership style resulted in little publicity for the 9th. Historian Russell Wiley described Simpson's handling of the Ardennes crisis as uncommonly normal. After the Battle of the Bulge, Simpson and the 9th Army, with the 35th Division, now a part of the 9th Army, pressed on through Germany and crossed the Rhine on 24 March 1945. The 9th encircled the Ruhr from the north and linked up with Lieutenant General Courtney Hodges' 1st Army on 1 April, trapping 300,000 German soldiers. Elements of the 9th were also the first U.S. troops to cross the Elbe River on 12 April, another action for which the 35th Division played a big part. After VE Day, Simpson undertook a mission to China in July 1945 before returning stateside to command the Second Army in October. Illness forced him into retirement in November 1946. He was promoted to general on the retired list in July 1954. After retirement, Simpson lived and worked in San Antonio, Texas. In 1971, his wife Ruth died, and soon thereafter, he moved to the Menger Hotel in downtown San Antonio, where he was very popular with the staff. In 1978, at the age of 90, he met Catherine Louise Berman, a retired civil service worker from a military family, and the two were married that same year. Simpson died at the Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas on 15 August 1980. He was later buried in Arlington National Cemetery alongside his wife Ruth. Besides 2 Distinguished Service Medals and a Silver Star, General Simpson also received the Legion of Merit, Philippine Campaign Medal, Mexican Service Medal, World War I Victory Medal with 2 class, Army of Occupation of Germany Medal, American Defense Service Medal, American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 4 Bronze Stars, World War II Victory Medal, French Legion of Honor, French Croix de Guerre, and Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire Medal.
Thank you, Colonel Ladding. Unfortunately, General Simpson died without any children, and we were not able to locate, even with Roberta Rousseau's help, any members of his family, distant family. So his award will be accepted by General Anthony Mohat, the commander of the Kansas Army National Guard.
I'll say a couple things to the families that have came, were able to be here today. Thank you. Thank you for coming and allowing us to induct your family members into the Hall of Fame. It's really a tribute to all the soldiers that serve across our armed forces, and allowing us to recognize the great achievements that they've done. But I know also it's great for our soldiers to see that and be able to have them in our museum. So thank you very much.
Right here in this scrapbook is a copy of that life cover that he was a General Simpson was on, thanks to Keith and Mark Bullock's scrapbook. Okay, that concludes our induction portion. So we will retire the colors. Ready to retire the colors? And I believe it's where we have the chaplain first for the benediction, then we'll retire the colors, and then you'll remain standing for the Army song.
Once again, I invite you to join me as I pray. Almighty God, as we have remembered and honored the lives of these soldiers today, may we leave here with a greater sense of the blessings that we have received because of their service, and the debt of respect and gratitude we owe. And may we go forth inspired just by their lives and deeds, and may we live out the best of the values that they have embodied for us. So bless us all today as we close this service. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Retire the colors.
Right.
again to the 35th Division Band, to the 137th reenactors for posting the colors, and to those, Colonel Wareham and the family, and some that are, we'll have refreshments ready in just a moment here. So give us a few minutes and we'll have cake and punch. Again, thank you all for coming. Make yourself at home here in the museum. Thank you very much.